colonization system, as they're calling it. Just right off the bat, I want to say I think that this is an amazing idea. It's even bigger than what of course, we all thought they were just going to let us build little bases on the planets all over. No, 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 no. They're going to give you entire star systems. Now, before you say, don't say anything, because first of all, right off the bat, you guys need to know there are 400 billion star systems in the Milky Way galaxy, and Elite Dangerous is a one-to-one representation of the entire Milky Way galaxy. So if you think that, there's going to be that, the salty dog crew is going to come in and take over the whole galaxy, it's not going to work. Okay? Nobody's been able to take over the galaxy, even the bubble, since I've been playing this game. So that's like 10 years, y'all. 10 years, y'all. And happy anniversary to Frontier and Elite Dangerous on their 10th year of this game being in existence. It's been an amazing ride, Commanders. So they already have in the game, okay, they have a system that they had set up where you could basically, as a guild, or if you were a content creator or something like that, they didn't even call them that back then. If you were a streamer, you could, if you had a decent enough following, or a big enough guild or whatever, then you could request to Frontier to give you a star system in the bubble. So now a lot of commanders have done that over the years. People like that. They want to do that. They like having control of their own star system. It can be under attack. You basically get to put your, whether your star system, you could name it as to who owned it. So the owners of the system were, that would be like your conglomerate name, or your, if you were a corporation, you could be a corporation. If you were just a guild, you could be just a guild. If you were a squadron, a warring, whatever faction, whatever you wanted to call it. I'm sure there are limitations on that, and I'm sure that they want to try to get away from having to police that as much. But with the way AI and stuff is going these days, I think it would be easier for them to police the majority of people, because the majority of people are going to do the right thing and not try to call it, mixed system face or whatever, right? And even if that goes in there, who cares? I know I've heard some podcasts and whatnot, and they get a little uppity up about all that naming and stuff. They don't want anybody to have. I think Elite Frontier needs to give them control. Let them do it. If they pick a name that's unacceptable, whether the AI catches it or a player catches it or whatever, it should be allowed to be, reported and changed, or whatever. Whatever is deemed the right thing to do by the police of said system. I don't think that anybody's just going to encircle the entire bubble and that's it. We can't go anywhere. We're stuck in the bubble forever. I've heard a lot of weird, rumors, people being afraid. Do not be afraid, Commanders. This is good stuff, because then we get to do whatever we want with the galaxy, which is, a 10-year-old game. It's not the worst thing that could happen. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot worse. They could have stopped working on it. The reason I like this, I'll tell you right now, the reason I do really, really like this whole idea of expanding the bubble, etc., colonizing the outer spaces, because that, in some ways, reinforces the fact that they're not giving up on this game. Okay, now you've heard me talking. I said, they might just be getting it prepped for selling, and they still may be. But if the player base can forge their own path and do what they're going to do, that's an instant win. That's like that's like a Minecraft win, right? Like Minecraft, I know they're not fundamentally the same game, but it is in the respect that you can build an entire world. Now, whether we can build those worlds, whether they're going to have to be on Frontier servers, or if they're going to allow us to, make our own servers like some other games do, where you can build your own server with your own people, do whatever the hell you want, or you have to do it on Frontier's official servers, whatever it is, there's lots of options for them in this space. I'm really, really excited to see where they go. Obviously, the newer, collective of folks that work on this game are much more open to things, which I really love. I've been harping on this for years and years and years. Everything was stagnant. Nobody wanted to move. They didn't want to break anything. Blah, blah, blah. These guys break everything, but they go back and they fix it, which As annoying that is for us, it's great. You know what I'm saying? That's progress, and that means that they're not giving up, Commanders. So right now, my stance is that I'm happy that they're not giving up on the game. Now, of course, that system that they have in the game currently, you had to ask Frontier to be allowed to have a system. This system, you would be able to build your own system, and you would be able to name it, and you'll be able to put in starports and all that stuff. Now, as to what if you can name the starports and all that stuff, I think that that's all, again, can be handled mostly by AI. If somebody wants to make an entire system and name a starport face, well, it's not the greatest name, but you know what? It's not your system. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's a lot of things out there that the player base can do. I think that they're obviously there's gonna be some tripping. They're gonna have trips, and they're gonna have falls. They're gonna get cuts and bruises just like always. But at the end of the day, making that commitment to the player base is a long-lasting thing. That can go on for, 2 more decades at least. I mean, the game will literally, the servers will have melted down and turned into dust by the time this game is done. And with this expansion into colonization, that is definitely, it's already, just even the talk of it has inspired people to return to the game, to check out the game. I know a lot of people are checking out Power Play, but they're also looking forward to the future. And when there's hope for a game, the players show up. All they want to know, if David Braven just came on, did a tweet and said, yes, we still love Elite Dangerous, we're going to work on it forever, everybody would come back. So once you are able to get into these systems, now what you can do with them is there's going to be the interesting part, because so if you're going to be able to build a starport, then you're going to be able to build other supporting starports. How many, where you put them, all that stuff. I don't know how all that's going to get worked out. But then now, if you can also do ground installations, great again. But on each of these installations, this is where I think they're kind of going to go into, how they make a lot of their games, they make are management systems. They're probably going to have some sort of a management system for this. So you can say, I want this, this base needs to be this kind of agricultural or whatever. This one needs to be, for war. This one's for, miners, like a trader's rest kind of thing or whatever. You know what I mean? All these different things you can do. There's tons and tons of systems in the game. It's just that the game is so darn big, it's hard to find them. That promotes also, if you have a setup where you want to do some sort of a trading route for traders and all that stuff, can you put all that in there? This is where I believe the management system part's going to come in. And that is something that Frontier has proven they're good at, right? So they're gonna, if they do that, and I have always tried, I wish they would just bring in some of the assets from like the coaster games and all that, so you could like travel from one installation on the land to another one on just a straight track. It doesn't have to, it could curve or whatever, but not, doing loops and all that other stuff, right? But that kind of stuff would be so cool, because they could easily put that, those assets, more easily they could take that stuff and put it into Elite. And I swear they do that already. There are some assets, if you play the different games, you'll notice that some of the assets from one game are technically in another, but maybe just look a little different, or whatever. But they have a lot of assets. They have a lot of games, they have a lot of assets, and they can do a lot of stuff. And the thing is if they're going to make a commitment, they're going to commit to the game, then the community is going to commit to them. So I'm really happy to see that they're going to do that. I'm personally looking forward to seeing where it goes and when it goes, because we don't know yet, Commander. We don't know. But I'm assuming that it's going to be very soon. It'll probably be update 20, maybe a few months, but it'll still come. They did announce everything. They're almost done. They've released or announced everything they said they would this year, which is that unheard of, Commanders? Is that crazy talk? What they've said this year. Okay, I'm not talking about shit they said 27 years ago. This year they made an announcement about what they're going to deliver, and so far they're on track to do that. And if they pull that off, that's going to instill a lot of confidence back into the player base. It's going to re-inject some amazing, thoughts and prayers from the community, and I'm looking forward to it, Commanders. I'm all down with it. I'm ready. I hope they give us more controls. I don't know what controls they'll give us out of the gate, because I don't know if you haven't played Elite Dangerous in a while. When they first bring out things, they make it really hard, and then over time they lighten up on it. So if you're going to be a first adopter, be prepared to work. Okay, you're not going to go in there and push a button and then all this stuff's going to generate. You're going to have to. My guess is that you're going to have to go get parts. You're going to have money. You're going to have support. You're going to have to work to make this happen, because it's not cheap, right? A starport is not cheap. I mean, a fleet carrier is $5 billion. A starport going to be a lot more than that, and there's going to have to be a way for people to contribute to your system, stuff like that, so that you can get help, because you're going to need help. Obviously, I mean, if you're a solo person, you may be able to build it. It might take you 5 years, but you could build it. But it's going to take you like 5 years. So if you're ready to make that kind of commitment, good on you. If you're not and you need help, you're going to have ways of how the carriers, they allow you to donate tritium to the carriers. This would kind of probably be the same thing that you'd have to do in a star system. So the current project is, Starport, and I'm sure there's going to be groups that are going to coordinate and do this, because that's how the community rolls. They're going to find the best way to do it, and then they're going to do it. And they may help other people as well. They may help other community leaders or community or pilots, if you're a solo. And maybe you can do something. Maybe you can only, as a solo, maybe you want a smaller star system with less stars in it, less things you have to populate. Some of the bigger guilds might want, huge number of, 3 suns with 47 planets and all that. And they may want that because that's what they need to, keep their business going, whatever their business is, whether it's killing or mining or, whatever it is, they got to do that. There's a lot of other things I'll still mention about this down the road. There's just some things I'd love to see them do. Obviously, this will also tie into, in some ways, I'm assuming it'll tie into the background simulation, and I'm assuming it'll also tie into the power play system if you want it. Right now, we can actually, on the guild tab in your thing, you can actually tell it, what superpower you want to allow in. So a lot of these systems are already in there. They're just only in there for the frontier to activate, or some player controls are there too. And I'm sure that's going to be how they go forward, is they're going to use that stuff and move it on into the next thing. That's my 2 cents on that for now, Commanders. We'll get back to more of that